Okay guys, so what I want you to do at this point, welcome virtual students and everybody else. In your 9th grade module number 2, you need to find the Greek Mythology Choice Assignment. You will find that under Mythology Choice Assignment on the in module 2. You should be able to find that pretty simply. I want you to click on that Google Slides. That'll bring you to this page right here. All right, so very quickly I want to go through what it is that you're being required to do this week, what I want you to get done. So for the Greek Mythology Choice Assignment, I wanted to give y'all a little bit more of an opportunity to practice some of the skills that we talked about. So you will have 3 myths. So I'll be giving you 3 possible myth stories that you can read. And from those stories, you're going to pick 3 activities. There's 3 activities, you'll pick one of them. So you'll find an activity to go with that particular myth. Then you'll upload and add that work to the assignment. And I even explained how to do it just in case you're having a tough time doing that. And then turn in the assignment when you have it finished and attach your work. So it tells you everything that you possibly need to know right here. All right. So the myths that you have, there are 3 myths that I have we picked out for you. The first one, Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens. Essentially, this is a story of how Poseidon and Athena were fighting for that city, and eventually it is named Athens, but it's sort of a bashing their heads against the wall kind of deal. And I include the full text, so you can actually see and read the story. So you can click on that full text. It'll bring up its own little PDF, and it'll have everything that you need here. You'll scroll down, and it even has for, like, if you have confusion on a word, or here it says Athena, right here at the bottom, it tells you number 2. Down here it tells you she was the Greek goddess of wisdom. So it gives you some extra little help if you're having trouble with some of the vocab words and things like that. All right, and so that was for Athena and Poseidon's contest for Athens. The second story is Echo and Narcissus, which I think is an excellent story. Very fun. It's the classic tale of Narcissus, who, what word does that sort of sound like, guys? Narcissist, right? And what's a narcissist?
Yeah, it's like someone who likes themselves.
Exactly. Somebody that's way too into themselves. If you're called a narcissist, it's because you are just all about yourself. You don't want to be called narcissists. We want to be selfless people, right? But that comes from this dude, Narcissus. And he finds a pool of water, and he looks down into the pool of water. He sees his own reflection. He is so enamored and just stunned by how awesome he is in the pool of water. He falls in love with himself in the water. He says, that reflection of me is just so great, and he just head over heels for himself. It's something else. It's very odd. But that's a very good story. If you want to check it out, that's a good pick. And the third pick that you could have, Orpheus and Eurydice. This myth tells the story of Orpheus's trip to the underworld in an attempt to retrieve his deceased wife, Eurydice. So essentially, this dude's wife died. Now, they didn't have a heaven or hell in the Greek mythology of how death worked. They said, it doesn't matter if you were good or bad, everybody goes to the underworld, and that's it. Whether you were the best person on the earth or you were the worst, doesn't matter, everybody goes to the same destination. So Orpheus, he doesn't like the fact that his wife is dead, obviously. So he goes down and attempts to retrieve her from the underworld. And he goes through quite a bit to get to her. But that is a possible pick that you could have as well. So you have 3 picks that you can go from. If you get stuck and you're like, I have no idea which one I want to choose, what do I want to do, I'm not saying you just have to read one of them. My suggestion, if you don't know what to pick, read all three. Once you read them, you may say, hey, this story about Orpheus going down to the underworld, I didn't like it as much. I don't think I could really do much with this one. It just wasn't really my thing. You may say, Athena and Poseidon fighting over a city, I mean, it's cool, but it's not like, probably couldn't do much with it. But this Narcissus, yeah, I mean, I could probably make a newspaper article about this guy. The fact that he falls in love with himself in the water, or I might be able to make a comic strip about this. And so it just depends on what you're trying to accomplish. Which leads us to the activities. So you're going to pick one of these three activities to do. The first one, create a digital comic strip. So that's a 3 to 6 panel comic strip that you'll make on Storyboard That. And it has a link that you click on. When you click on that link, it'll take you there. You gotta make sure you save your stuff though, because if you don't save, it doesn't save for you. It's not as forgiving as Google. Google's very forgiving. It saves no matter what. Storyboard That is not the way. All right, and I even included some tips and exemplars, so you can click on this link here in the slideshow, and it'll actually pull up an example. I'll actually do that here in just a moment. But that will be a digital comic strip. It's a very interesting one to work on. You get to make your own little comic and representing the story and the characters. Everything is here. I'm not going to read the whole thing out to you because you have it, you can see it. But again, you want to pick the story or the most important part of the story, and the important scene or whatever. Make sure you have like thought bubbles where the characters talk or they are thinking about something, and be complete. Make sure you have a beginning, a middle, and an end. That's how all stories are. Have a beginning, middle, end. Okay? Design a movie poster. This one's a very fun one. It's for if you're really crafty and you like doing more of the artsy kind of stuff. This is a very interesting one. You basically make a movie poster. Now, you could do this in Google Slide and create it that way so that you can move images and text boxes a little bit easier. You could use that. You could use Google Draw, which we practiced with from the last module. You could use it as well. It's similar to Paint to an extent and similar to Slides. It just makes it a little bit easier to drag and drop pictures in that area. Or if you want to use like docs to be able to insert stuff, it's just a lot more limiting using docs to try and make something. But if you really wanted to make it spicy, you wanted to make sure that you had all the fonts available to make your word art for your title, go to it, man. That's fine by me. Whatever way you need to, just be familiar with how to work it. You're gonna have to show more than one character from the story, have a title, depict the most important scene. Just like a movie poster, you're trying to get people to come watch this thing to know what the story's about. And specifically me, I need to know that you understand what the story was about. Include specific details from the story, like locations, colors, character descriptions. Those things need to all be present somehow, some way, whether it's you have gotten a picture of this person or you've created a picture of this person. You need to make sure that you're following what the story said about them. So if they look rough and they are bald-headed, I shouldn't see him with, cloud hair where it's just everywhere. He should be bald, okay? Just stick with the stories. And be colorful and neat. I like stuff that looks nice, okay? I don't want to, get something that has just little tiny stick figures on it. We could do that. I could get that from like my, second grade or third grade class if I had taught one of those, okay? I don't need that. I want high school level work. You guys are capable of doing a lot of stuff. I want you to do your best. Or write a newspaper article. That's another option. And this one's very interesting. You create your own newspaper article based on whatever story it is. So you could be reporting on man travels to the underworld to save his dead wife, or an obituary for his wife, or you could do all sorts of things with the newspaper articles. You want to include a picture or image that goes with the story. You want to format it like a newspaper. I actually have a format that you can use that when you click on the tips and exemplar, there's a little link that you can click on. It'll take you right to where you need to be. Report the most important details from the story, name and describe the characters, all those things that you can simply do. You know how to do these things, okay? Anybody have any questions on that so far? Yes, ma'am.
So I can use docs?
Yeah, you can use docs on these if it's easier for you to work Google Docs than it is to work Google Slides or Google Draw, which I understand. Use Google Docs. That could be a much easier way. I know I provided some templates that are already sort of set, so if you want to make your own thing, do it too. But I tried to make it as easy as possible so that you don't have to do a lot of legwork, and most of the stuff is done for you. You just have to add in the story for your particular myth. Okay? All right. Excellent. Okay, great question. Any other questions, guys? All good? Excellent. Okay. So the comic strip, this is an example of what you would see here if you clicked on that little tips link at the bottom. This would be what pops up. Tips for creating the comic strip. Be sure to log in with Google on Storyboard that. Again, it doesn't save automatically. You gotta make sure that you save. Okay, you gotta be real careful with this one. It's not as forgiving as Google. Google's very forgiving. It saves even when you don't want it to. And if you accidentally delete something, and it automatically saves, like I did last time. So it's not as forgiving as Google. Make sure that you're saving as you're going. When your work's finished, download as a high-res image, high resolution. That will make it where I can read what it is. I'll be able to understand what you have. If not, it'll be a bunch of pixely blocks that I can't read. Okay, make sure it's high-res. It'll tell you, and when you download it, it'll say high resolution for you to be able to get there. If you're stuck, I even included a little how-to video. You can just click on it. It'll take you, show you how to use the site, and be able to create this. If you're still confused, reach out to me for help. I'm here. I'm available. What I want you to do, if you're having problems, especially since we're virtual and I don't get to see all of you guys all at the same time.
Good afternoon, Raiders. A couple of quick afternoon announcements before the bell rings. Remember, when the bell rings, car riders and student drivers will be dismissed, and then I will come over the intercom to dismiss bus riders when all the buses get here. If you want food for tomorrow, breakfast, lunch, go by the cafeteria after school. It's free. Go by and get you breakfast and lunch for tomorrow if you need some food. You can do that in the cafeteria every afternoon, and it's free. Don't forget to get your football tickets for Friday night. We play Cahulla Creek here. It is senior night, and the cost of a ticket is $8. You need to go ahead and get your ticket up front because we're only allowing 50% capacity in the stadium Friday night. Keep up the good work, wearing your mask and staying socially distanced, and I hope you have a great afternoon. I love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Excellent. Okay, so makes you feel a little bit more closer to the classroom. You get interrupted just like us. All right, so where was I at? If you're still confused, reach out to me. At the bottom of the Google assignments, when you go into Google Classroom, you'll see there's a little spot that says like, add a private comment. Send me a comment. Say, hey, Mr. Smith, I don't understand what's going on here. I chose to do the comic strip. I'm having a tough time understanding the website, or I want to do this. I don't know how to do that. I've looked it up. I've watched the how-to video. I still can't get it. If that's the case, send me a comment. Or better than that, send me a comment and a screenshot. If you give me a screenshot of what your screen looks like, I can much better help you out. Because if I don't see your screen, I don't know what your problems are. I can't really understand oftentimes if you just send me a comment, this isn't working. I don't know what's not working. So send me a screenshot of whatever's giving you hassle and I'll help you out, okay? Design the movie poster. This one's pretty straightforward. I would suggest so as not to waste a lot of extra time, for you not to have to redo this over and over and over again, I would draw this out first. Like on a piece of paper, I would like craft this thing out. See what it looks like, how much space will you need, where are you gonna put your title, where are you gonna put the characters, what kind of pictures and background do you wanna have in it, where are you gonna put your quotes and your characters and it's starring whoever. You need to know where you're gonna put stuff, because if not, you're gonna waste a lot of time in Google Slides or in Draw or in Docs trying to create this thing, because it's gonna be very labor intensive if you don't sketch it out first. So I would make a draft first, get a good idea of how much space you're gonna need, where am I gonna put my title, what am I gonna put here, consider using a cast of characters, the characters from the story, like an important quote and maybe a tagline. So here we have Icarus, the guy who made a set of wax wings and tried to fly to the sun. He flew really close to the sun and his wax wings melted, and that was sort of the end for him. Okay, not good. So that's a possibility. The other one, your other possibility, writing the newspaper article. This has the template that you can use to be able to get on there. So that template will be very worthwhile for you to use. Be creative with the title of your newspaper and everything else that you might need. Does anybody have any questions about these? Okay, all right, make sure that you add your work to the assignment when it's finished. Make sure you get that stuff turned in. For this class, y'all are my Wednesday class, make sure you get your stuff turned in by next Wednesday. If you're in another class, make sure you get that stuff turned in at the right time, okay, the time that you'll have that class. It was good to see you guys. We'll see y'all later. I think it's car riders today.